For your 2016 class, you signed 2 goalkeepers, 4 midfielders/forwards, and 4 defenders. How big was this class after losing 9 seniors?
I mean, this is a very important class for us. We needed to get some versatility, because in our sport we're recruiting kids so early, 2 years ahead of their graduation date. So being able to bring some kids who are versatile and have the same value system as we do, is very important. Especially, losing 9, very instrumental players for us.
Now you signed 10. You have a total of 11 for this 2016 class. 1 gal is already on campus, and we'll start with her, Judith Sanchez from Spain. You have a handful of international players on your team already. What makes MTSU appealing, and what do you like about Sanchez's game?
Well, I mean, we have a global appeal. I mean, and you just have to look at what we do in terms of our international student population and the relationship, that our esteemed presidents had formed with international universities. Judith comes to us from Spain. Nice player, quick, very technical. Has the ability to unlock defenses through her dribbling and her pace. And we're just excited that she's on campus now, kind of getting adjusted before the fall season.
We'll start with your goalkeepers, Sydney Shawcraft and Maddie Kim. You signed 2 of them. What do they each bring? Like, how are their games different? Because it's not going to be easy replacing Kelsey Brower.
Yeah, I mean, Kelsey has a phenomenal season last year, but we certainly have a lot of confidence in Celeste, who's returning for us. We feel like, we needed 2 goalkeepers to increase the competitiveness within that block of players. Both Maddie and Sydney brings a lot of experience, a lot of accolades to their name. I think you'll find, both of them to be very competent goalkeepers, in their own ways. I mean, Sydney is quick, very good with her feet, very good with her hands. Maddie's a great shot stopper, very good with her hands, good with her feet as well. And they're all components that, our current goalkeeper, Celeste Bernard, also displays. So I'm really excited to see how that battle is going to play out, in the preseason.
We'll move up. You signed 4 midfielders/defenders. You lose 2 seniors in Tori Hawkins and Grace Summers. They're not going to be easy replacements, but we'll start with Sam Devine from Cleveland, Tennessee. 22 goals, 12 assists last year. She's one of those girls in your recruiting class. She could be a midfielder. She could be a forward. Where do you see her playing?
Well, that's a good question. And it's a good question, but I'm happy it's a tough question because one of our objectives, like I mentioned, was to get some versatility. Sam is a phenomenal striker, but is a great playmaker. So I think, for us, just being able to use her one of 2 places is a major plus for us. It's going to help us with the way we play in the middle of the park, the way we play up front. It's going to help us with any type of injuries, being able to rotate players at different positions. I see Sam as one of those players that is going to come in and challenge for a spot immediately.
Another midfielder/forward, Taylor Hatch from Fort Myers, Florida. 79 goals, 52 assists in her 4 years. She actually had 35 goals just as a junior alone. She's, again, one of those midfielders/forwards. You mentioned that's good to have. Is this a player that you really don't know right now, and you're just going to wait to see how practice goes and see where she kind of meshes well with the team?
We know a lot about Taylor, as we do every one of our recruits. Taylor's going to be a fun player to watch. I mean, very small player, but very hard-nosed, very aggressive, very good on the ball, crafty, good pace, and I think that's why she scores a lot of goals. Smart player, so I mean, we're certainly looking for her to come in and challenge for a position right away. I think, preseason will help define whether she's a central player or a wide player for us.
Now, Amber Hu, another midfielder/forward out of Indiana, she was highly decorated individually, and also her team was as well. Where do you see her making an impact? Do you see her making an impact right away, or do you think she's still a little raw and has some room to grow?
Amber is a quality player and is a player much like everyone in this recruiting class is fully capable of making an impact right away. Very unselfish player. We've been really impressed with her. She comes to us through one of our former players, Claire Ward, that played here. And, Amber, crafty on the ball, smart, aggressive, great vision, can break you down with dribble penetration, good at scoring goals, So, she's another one of those players where we know she's going to have an impact, and preseason, again, will tell us whether it's a central one or a wide one.
Now, Solera Jordan out of the Clarksville area, she was named Tennessean Player of the Year 2 times. She had 108 goals, 150 assists, and she has a state championship under her belt as well as multiple postseason appearances. What's it like bringing in a player that has had that much success? What does that mean to bring into your team?
It's certainly, if you look at not just Solera but the rest of the class, they have sort of things that are in common. They're used to winning, they're used to performing, they're used to playing in big games. They're just young players. Solera is no different. She is another player that we do expect some good things from. All throughout the recruiting process, she's always been the kid that has impressed us with her work ethic. She's a box-to-box player, and most importantly, she works for her team, and she always put her teams first. So I think just with her ability and her physical attributes and her desire, she's going to help us maintain a certain level of competitiveness, that I think we're definitely going to need from a young team.
We'll move to your back line. We'll start with Casey Reamer out of Knoxville. She's a defender, but she also had 88 goals and 40 assists. So what does that mean to bring a defender who is also an attacker?
Given the way we play, the way we like to play, certainly last year I think may have been historically the least number of goals we've scored as a program. And we wanted to get back to that. We wanted to get to a place where, if we won a game, it was 5-4, not 1-0. We still want to win. But I think a player like Casey, plays high school soccer as a forward, and certainly plays her club soccer at FC Alliance along with Sam Devine and Savannah Stair under Coach Josh Gray. She's been a fantastic outside back. She gets forward into the attack really well, and when she gets there, she's very comfortable having played as a forward in high school. So she's able to deliver quality balls in the box, but most importantly, finish on important goals. So I think having a player that is good defensively, but also can transition into attack fits well with where we want to be in 2016.
We'll move to your second defender in this recruiting class, Savannah Stair. She got first place in the 4x4 relay in the Intermountain Athletic Conference. What does she bring to this team besides speed? Because obviously with that accolade, we know she has speed.
Well, in losing Emily Jorgensen, who's a natural lefty, Savannah is a natural lefty. Plays for the same club as Casey Reamer. Casey played on the right, Savannah played on the left. So you're going to find some of the attributes that, they're going to share similar attributes. Savannah is a lot more physical player, hard-nosed, gets forward well, very good in set pieces, and is also a player that can play center back, left outside back. I think her pace, her aggressiveness, her competitiveness, she's an extremely competitive player, I think is going to be a big part of what we do.
We'll move to your third defender, Hannah Catch out of Indiana. She's recruited as a defender, but in high school she played not only defender, but she also played center mid and forward. Do you see her sticking to that in coming here and playing defender, or do you see her possibly moving once she gets here?
I see, Hannah primarily will be a center back for us, and occasionally will be a defensive midfielder. Now certainly, again, her versatility and her experience in high school and in club at different positions is going to certainly increase her chances of having an impact right away. We really liked her physical attributes. She plays for the same club as Amber Huth right now, and so we know a lot about her as well. And we've also seen her at our ID camp and was very impressed with the things that she did. And so I feel like she's going to be that kid that's going to come in, work extremely hard, and put herself in a position to have an impact her freshman year.
Moving to the last signee and also the last defender, Caitlin Traver out of Yorba Linda in California. She was two-time defensive MVP. What about her defense stood out to you and wanted to bring her to MTSU?
Caitlin, we've seen, I mean, she plays with Sydney Navarro, who's one of our current players. I mean, so in recruiting Sydney, you know, we also saw Caitlin. You know, what I like about Caitlin is, again, her versatility. I mean, she could play as a right back, a left back, a center back, a defensive midfielder. And we've seen her play in all of those positions, and she's impressed us in all of those positions. You know, I think her pace, her aggressiveness, her ability to get forward into the attack, you know, when she plays center back, her, you know, the emphasis she puts on safety and organization was very impressive. So, you know, I think she's another one of those players that, you know, preseason again will tell us where she fits best, you know, but she certainly has the attributes and the experience to come in and have an impact for us as well.
We mentioned at the beginning you lose 9 seniors, but you bring a lot of players back, but then you also have a big recruiting class. Is that going to be a difficult task for you as a coach?
Yes and no. I mean, because, I mean, you know, we knew that coming in to this, so we've got some things that we need to do to make sure that everything runs smoothly and that the transition not only the new players have, but the returning players with the new players is a short one. You know, I think for us, the important thing, I think it starts with the returning players. You know, we have to make sure that we develop a culture here with our returning players that's based on, you know, high work rate, work ethic, certainly a commitment to team and discipline on and off the field. You know, with the recruiting class that we have, they do have high commitment to their team. They all are extremely, you know, fit players with good work ethic, and they're very disciplined with their training. So, you know, we feel like if we can basically take the value system off the old players, make sure that it's intact, and, you know, take the skill sets of the new ones, that it will make that transition a lot easier and a lot shorter. The whole group will be, you know, as you talk about the new players, you can see the versatility that exists in the whole group, across the whole group. I think the two least versatile players in our recruiting class are our goalkeepers, and that's because, well, they're goalkeepers. You know, but I think that, and, you know, just the talent that we have returning, because we do have some talented kids returning. I think if we can establish that culture, you know, like I said, that's built on work ethic, you know, discipline and commitment, you know, to not just to the team, but also to their own personal development, then I think we're going to be putting ourselves in a position to be very competitive this year.